Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this program about your Kundalini awakening, whether it's an activation or an awakening. And I'm just going to jump right into it like we usually do. And so I'd like you to see yourself on the steps of that gold and silver pyramid. This time, I'd like you to turn inward towards the pyramid. I'd like you to see the height that you are on the pyramid. Bring yourself all the way to the first step. All the way to the first step, and face into the pyramid and feel the grace of the sacred feminine all around you. Feel the strength and the strong and wide area that your pyramid is taking up on the ground. See the trees off in the distance. See the stars in the night sky. For some reason, it's got to be night today. Feel the darkness and feel the brilliance at the same time. Feel the brilliance as your gold and silver pyramid glows in the night, and actually you know there's a shadow being cast behind you. Feel the diamond-like stars twinkling above you and bringing their radiance upon you. Feel all of this right now and turn into that pyramid, turn into that Kundalini awakening equation that is within you at the base of your spine, emanating out from the base of your spine and traveling up your spine and out through the top of your head and cascading like the radiance from the stars around you. You're providing your own galaxy of stars as the energy erupts from your fontanelle at the top of your head and falls in a cascade all around you, front, back, sides, all around you. You might even see some of those sparks bounce off of your Kundalini pyramid as you stand there looking inward. The main message today for everyone here who is listening here is to go straight in to love. The message that she wants me to give you today is all about going to love, no matter how hard the circumstances may be around you. Go into the love. Find the smallest expression of love and amplify that love to its widest circumference around you and within you. Allow yourself to hear the Kundalini in my voice and allow that Kundalini to help your understanding and your interaction with the Kundalini within you. Listen to the voice and allow it to help you. Find the love within your heart. I know that you have been heartbroken. I know that you have been abused. I know that you've had many, many, many difficult things happening to you and around you. Some of you have lost children. Some of you have lost spouses. Some of you have lost money and been taken advantage of by people in our society. And still, I'm going to say, go into the love, my friend. Go into the love and allow the love to embrace you. You are only here by virtue of the love that the divine has for you. Anything that you've had in your life, including a spouse and children and money and power and position, has all been given you through the love of the divine within. You have been allowed to think that you're making choices. You have been allowed to think that you're the accomplisher, when in fact, for you, the Kundalini people, it has been the divine that has been driving you, helping you, giving you the options that you have chosen the correct option to take. Go into this love, go into this grace, and make the right choice again. Make the right choice again and pull the love from within you. This is why you're facing the pyramid. The pyramid represents that Kundalini equation within you. Allow yourself to step into the center of the pyramid. I want you to see a doorway open up within the steps of the pyramid, and that doorway leads into the heart of the base part of the pyramid, the sacred Shakti area at the bottom of the pyramid, where she would normally lie dormant. In you, she's awake. And that volcano there at the base of the inside of the pyramid is pushing that energy up through the top of the pyramid. I want you to go there now. I want you to feel the love that the Sacred Mother Kundalini has for you and has always had for you. I want you to bask in the glow of that love, and I want you to allow your own love to mirror her love. It's a form of unconditional love for whatever has happened in a person's life. Love overcomes it. Love is bigger than that. And for the disasters that we have in our life due to our requirement to have need for attachments, to have need for a house and a car and money in the bank and food in the refrigerator and the toys and the divergence, the divergent activities that we participate in. Allow those distractions to just drop away. Those attachments are also overcome by the love of grace, by the love of the divine within you. I want you to feel yourself inside of the first chakra of your Kundalini body. Feel the radiance. Feel the emotional flow, the flow of love, the flow of acceptance. You belong. You belong, and you always have. It's just that we allow our attachments to distract us from the truth of who we are. Society promotes this. Society promotes it so that people become so addicted to their distractions and to the attachments that are basically illusionary. But we have to live in society, and so we play the game. We play the attachment game. Right now, I just want you to step out of the game and step into the inner Kundalini pyramid that you should be standing within right now. Look at the glowing silver and gold walls of the room that you're in. See in the center of that room that beautiful energetic force that is going right up, all the way up and out. Feel that force within you and allow that force to begin to control how you feel. Take a moment and allow that force to control how you feel. Feel the gratitude to the divine flow within you. Listen to my voice and let it help you understand what I'm talking about. Feel the voice reach within you. Feel your Kundalini embrace the Kundalini in my voice. Open your Kundalini. Be opened by your Kundalini. Feel the love in every manifestation that you can understand that it is coming through you with. The love of God, the love of the body, the love of the soul, the love of thoughts, the love of giving love to other people, the love of receiving love from other people. Really, really begin to focus on this now, my friends. This is a quality of expansion that you are being invited into. the quality of the expansion of a very sacred quality. The divine love is wanting to expand within you. Let it, embrace it, nurture it, allow it to flow and expand and overcome any of the barriers and blockages that you may have, or that you may have developed, or that other people have given you, or the situations that you have experienced in society may have fabricated for you. Let the love flow over all those things and take them out of your consciousness. Right now, just be in love, with love. Be in love with love. And you may start to cry. And this is good. This is good. You may go into bliss, and this is good too. You may see all kinds of scenes from your life come up for you, scenes from your childhood, from your teenage years, from your young adult years, from just last year. Let those scenes come to you and just pour the love over them as if you're pouring syrup over pancakes. But you have to like a lot of syrup on those pancakes, because I'm saying drench it with the love. And I don't care what kind of love you use for this. It can be the sweet, sweet, sticky kind of love. It can be the maternal or the paternal love. Any kind of love will serve you in this way. The love of grace is a very powerful one. And if you can reach for that, and if you can feel for that, let that expand within you as well. Take a moment and do this. Feel the love come through your ears, into your spine, into your brain, your mind, your eyes, your soul, your spirit. Feel it descend all the way to the base of your spine, where you're standing within your Kundalini equation. It is you and you are it, and yet it is aware of you and you are aware of it as singular and blended components of grace. Open your mind, open your eyes, open your mouth. Let it fill you, heal you, guide you, be with you. Love never leaves you. You might leave it consciously, but it doesn't leave you ever. It is what holds yourselves together. It is what allows you to experience the process of youth, is what allows you to feel that you're independent of everything and that the ego must be satisfied. It will take a back seat to your quest for self-identity, and it will nurture you in very specific ways as you are in that level of illusion. For you are love. It is you and you are it. And there is no escaping that except for the level of grace and its allowance of you to fabricate a separation that is supported by the society that you're living in right now. By even being on earth, for the most part, not completely, but for the most part, by even being on this planet around other people, there are certain programs that are being initiated upon you that strive to form a separation between you and your divine grace. Right now, you can set that aside. Right now, there is no separation. You are not separate from the flowers that you're walking by. You are not separate from the trees or the grass or the dirt or the clouds or the stars or the sun. You are at one with everything through the love of the divine, which is everything. If you do your research on the Kundalini, you will read people's experiences at being in love with everything, at one with everything, with every dust particle, every asteroid, every cell in a fish or a bird or a mammal or a plant or a fungi. Everything. The totality of the many, many multiverses are expressing through you right now. You just have to learn to recognize it and learn to accept the love that recognition can open you to. So stand in the middle of your Kundalini pyramid, your equation of grace, of divine grace upon this world. Stand there and walk into the energy that you see there going up through the top of the pyramid. Step into that flow and let that flow wash away your insecurities and your fears. Let that flow, that energetic flow that you see and that you're feeling now as you walk into it, let that flow calm you and heal you and love you and hold you. Feel the expansion of your energy as you stand in that flow of Kundalini, for it is most certainly flowing through you right now. Forgive everyone and everything, including yourself. Forgiveness is a form of love that nurtures love within you. Love of others and love of self. As you forgive others, you develop forbearance for them and patience for their growth pattern and their expressive patterns of development upon this world. As you come in deeper and deeper into your Kundalini expression, you begin to see the patterns of people's development as they stand around you or walk past you or sit in the car next to you in heavy traffic. You begin to understand where they're coming from and why they're coming from that place. And it's a beautiful, beautiful form of understanding that really allows you to expand your love for them, even though you may not agree with what they're doing or how they're doing what they're doing. You don't have to agree with people's choices to love them as humanity, to love them with the heart of grace within you. Turn to the right as you stand within that flow of energy, going from the bottom of the central part of that pyramid and out through the peak, out through the top and into the cosmos. You are at one with that sacred illumination, that sacred beam, that ray of light, that ray of love. You are at one with that. And let that be your truth. Allow yourself to live from that truth in a consistent expression of heavenly love for everything around you, divine love for everything around you, every level of creation, whether it's good for the human being or not so good for the human being. It is an expression of the divine upon this world or within the many levels and the many creative expressive levels around the physical. talking the astral. I'm talking the causal plane, the mental plane, the emotional planes, and the heavenly planes, or the divine planes of existence. Merge with all of it, my friend. Not just the physical. Yes, the physical is a vast level of expressive divinity, and merge with that. But also feel yourself expanding into the spiritual areas, the higher vibratory areas of creation. The place where you go when you dream. It's not all about the physical, my friend. The seven heavens. Some of the ancients would refer to it as the seven heavens. And these are the dimensions that are above the physical. And some of them that actually embrace the physical, like the lower astral. Open your love to encompass all of this. Feel the tingling in your spine. Feel it as you stand within that huge flow of grace, coming up through the bottoms of your feet, up your spine, out the top of your head, and straight up through the pyramid of grace that is your Kundalini equation. Allow the understandings of love and the importance of love to come into your life right now. You may not be able to do everything that I'm asking you to do, but if you keep it in your mind, if you allow love to become a factor in how you think and what you think about anything in your life, you allow the levels of Kundalini divine grace to come in to your thinking process. And that will change your thinking process. That will change your level of judgmentalism. That will change your level of anger. That will change the way that you respond to other people being judgmental or angry with you or competitive with you. It changes your response, and it places you in an extreme level of strength. Because as you expand the divine love that the Kundalini is opening within you, as you expand it, and it flows over the egocentrism of what your levels of self-validation may be, it smothers out certain elements of invalidation that the ego may harbor. And as the love flows over those invalidations and fears and self-judgments that the ego may have, it replaces it with a level of strength and wisdom. And you become very capable. And that strong level of capability begins to express itself in ways that allow you not to be hurt by the interactions that you have with other people in different stages of development upon this world and in the society where you live. That condemnative soul that is looking at you because it's, infested with an entity, or they just have a malevolent thought pattern, you can easily forgive. You don't know them. You don't know them from anybody. And, they may be angry at the whole world. And their malevolence does not affect you any more than an angry baby on TV would affect you. You understand? You see, can you raise yourself into this position of grace? So as you're experiencing the love and the love is expanding itself within you and controlling the way you think, and because it controls the way you think, it controls the way you act, and because it controls the way you act, then it controls how other people might see you as well. You understand that everything is energy here. Even corporeal bodies are made of energy. And when the energy that a corporeal body exudes into the environment is changed through the divine Kundalini, other people will feel it. And they will feel that love. If you're harboring love, if you're nurturing love within you, they will feel that effect upon them. It will just feel good to be next to you. It will feel good to touch you. It'll feel good to look at you. And this is why you see nature emulating that expression by having the butterflies land on you, or the bees land on you, or the wasp land on you, or the bird land on you, or the snake curling up on your foot. This is how nature teaches us to emulate the effects of grace upon our bodies. Nature is such an amazing teacher. Nature equals the Shakti Kundalini, which equals the Sacred Mother, which equals Mother Nature. Whatever term you use for the environment and its creative life around you, that is the Sacred Feminine. That is the Sacred Shakti, if you want to use the Sanskrit Shakti term. The Sacred Feminine. Allow yourself to be taught by nature. As nature lands upon you and gives you the grace of no longer having the fear of humanity that it does with others that are around you that are unawakened. As the bird lands on you, or the butterfly, or the bee, or any of the creatures begin to have a fearless interaction with you, so can you also have a fearless interaction with nature, but also with humanity. As your love is expanded and amplified into the environment around you, you begin to condition through your radiance the levels of love that is received by the environment around you. Take a moment and feel this. Take a moment and feel this. Listen to the Kundalini within you. Listen to the Kundalini within me. Listen and feel and allow and surrender and express. Feel the knowledge of the importance of love in your life. Feel the knowledge of the importance of love in your life. And allow that love to express its way through you. If you're having jealousy in your life right now, that's just a test. That's just a test from the Kundalini, reminding you of what you no longer have to experience. The shift. Change the channel. If you're feeling revenge or anger or hatred, that's just the option that you're being given from society that you can put in to the flow of love right now and release the objects of anger. And forgive yourself for having that anger. Forgive yourself for having the jealousy. Forgive yourself for having the fear. Because once again, remember, forgiveness is an action of love. Forgiveness is an action of love. And this is why it is so helpful within the Kundalini equations. So extremely helpful. It will heal you. It will heal your physical body. When you're in levels of anger or fear, jealousy, or rage, the body tightens up. The muscles tighten up. The body goes into stress. It goes into a form of a long-lasting shock to its system. And so the muscles are constantly stretched and the bones are constantly pulled on and the ligaments are constantly weakened because this constant pull upon them. Go into love. Go into forgiveness. Go into tolerance. Go into compassion. Go into patience. Go into self-discipline. Go into honesty and truth. These are all qualities of the giant luminous gem that is love. Kundalini will support each of those noble behaviors. So now come out from under that flow, from within that flow, at the center of the bottom part of your pyramid. Come out onto that first step. Feel the interaction with the environment around you. See the stars again. Turn around and face outward. And let your love expand as far as your eyes can perceive. For the eyes and the vision carry the luminous qualities of love into and upon the environment. The eyes are like capacitors of love. The love that you feel within becomes increased, and as you see and as you view your environment, carry the love upon your vision. It's like the vision has weight to it. It has consistency beyond just a formulation of light waves or a perception vector of bringing in information. Now you're exuding information. You're projecting information away from you. It's just like, as I've mentioned in some other programs, if you're naked, and you're in a society that doesn't appreciate nakedness, but you're naked and you're taking a swim in a pool, and all of a sudden you feel like you're being watched, and you're like, trying to cover yourself up or whatever, which is so not right, but we're just using this example. You feel the weight of someone's gaze upon your body, because that gaze carries a force of consciousness. And when you stand on that lower step of your Kundalini pyramid equation, and you look out at the farthest distance all around you, you carry the consciousness of love to where you see it. And you can even carry it further than where you see it. If you know that there is a far distant land, and you hold that resonant frequency of that far distant land within your mind, and you see it with your inner eye, you can project the love there as well. If you know where there's a war-torn country experiencing severe deprivation, extreme fear, and you want to send your love to that place in a healing, all you need to do is say the name of the country, and the divine will carry that love to that place, to those people, to those animals, those insects, and all the levels of creation in that land, including the consciousness of the combatants. So stand and face outward. See the stars in the sky. See the mountains, far off mountains. See the plants, and feel the exquisite quality of divine life that is around you, because all life is divine. All life has the spark of divinity that controls it, that runs it. All life is divine. And so feel that environmental divinity come into your consciousness, as if you're standing there naked and you're feeling all eyes of creation upon you. I want you to look right back into those eyes with your eyes and express the love through your eyes. The consciousness of love through your eyes, and let your vision carry it everywhere you look. Kundalini rides on the vectors of love. She wants you to do this. Take a moment and do this. Take a moment and do that. Feel what it's like. Feel how you look with the eyes of love. Feel how your vision carries the consciousness of love at anything that you gaze upon. Anything that you look at is now saturated with love. Saturated with love. And it doesn't mean that, you run over to the bear and you try to give it a big hug, because it may not understand that. It just might, but you've got to appreciate, and you've got to have a level of understanding about the nature of things, the nature of the creation that you're extending your love to. And through that appreciation, you need to honor the instincts of the life around you. So just because you have the Kundalini doesn't mean that you go up to the rattlesnake and you try to kiss it on its nose. Not that you would. But you know what I'm saying? It has consciousness, and it has its own self-respect. And you need, through your love, to recognize that respect and the respect of its space. You can look at it with the eyes of love, but you don't need to manhandle it or human handle it. Not all of them are so appreciative of that. And yet, like I say, I've had snakes curl up on my foot. I've had birds land on me, take food out of my fingers, butterflies, bees, wasps, spiders. They all know you when the divine is pouring through you. They trust you. And in many ways, I'll suggest that you begin to trust them. Look at the lessons of love that nature has to teach you. Look at how the mama bear, will cuff the little cub to keep them from danger, to correct them. And this would be similar to what people do with their children. Sometimes they need to be cuffed a little bit, spanked, or my mother used to take me by the ear, drag me away from whatever I was doing that was endangering myself. This is not wrong. This is a lesson of grace, because we come here as children, we come here kind of blind to the rules of the road. And sometimes, the rules of the road require a less than gentle teaching. Look at nature. Look at how the eggs of nature are protected. Look at how life feeds on the love of life. Look at these areas. I would like to introduce my co-host at this time. She is a gifted member of the Kundalini Awakening Systems groups and communities, and she has put this program together to allow you to understand more about your Kundalini equation. Hello, Amelia Santara. Hello.
Hello, Chrism. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
It's
How you
hard
doing?
to come back from that. I'm doing good.
You can still stand on that pyramid and send love to the direction.
It's amazing when you say things, that you said throughout that visualization there with your voice. When you say something, some things in particular that are truth, I get this tactile feedback or communication from the Kundalini, and it's like tactile bliss, it's just the truth of what you say, is very beautiful. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kundalini.
The Kundalini knows how to speak with
Thank
love.
you, Kundalini. Yes. Now, I've noticed, Chrism, that there's somebody on the phone that I would actually like to go and speak with. I think they may have a question. Will I go do that now?
Yeah, please do. Please do. And I'm gonna talk with Chrism. And Chrism, I don't really have the opportunity now to go to that link that you posted there. I'm not sure what environmental memories. I'm not really talking about environmental memories with this. I'm talking about direct, you might say telepathic instructions from divinity. And I see that Doug is saying hello. Hello, Doug Bennett. Nice to see you here. And Tajashri, hello. I don't see you. Vicky Vaughn, hello. Cole and David and Alana Seeger, everybody, hello. And welcome to the program. And thank you for showing up. I know that Manisha, it's probably like 2 or 3 in the morning over there. And just as an aside, Manisha, I got your package. Thank you very much. And I'm interested in working with that magazine over there. So let's go ahead and set that up. So if people have questions, and Chris Mize says the article has to do with the love of nature. Well, very good. Then that is quite appropriate to what we're talking about. I'd like to welcome everybody who is calling in right now. We have some callers, and I'd like to welcome everybody who is listening to this program in the archives, the future people that are coming into their present moment, that they listen to this, and they listen to the Kundalini coming to them and through them. And Vicky, hi. So if you have any questions, or if you'd like to call in, the call-in number for people would be area code 347-934-0026. And that's area code 347-934-0026. I want you to feel free to talk about anything that pertains to your Kundalini awakening, or your interest about Kundalini, or anything, your phenomena that you may be having right now, or research that you're doing. Yes, Santara.
Hi, Chrism. Well, you've got a gentleman called Tyler that would like to speak with you. He hasn't listened for a while and would like to speak to you about some questions around the phenomena that he's having.
Very good. We'll bring Tyler on. Let's see. I guess it was. Okay. Hello, Tyler.
Hello, Chrism. How are you on this beautiful day?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing pretty good today, I guess. Overall, my experience has been a mixed bag of things, I guess. The last few weeks have been amazing, and I must say that overall my experience in my awakening process has been improving for the most part, and that's a good.
Have I spoken with you before, Tyler?
We used to chat on Facebook, on email and things, and eventually I think you ended up blocking me on all fronts, so I was no longer able to contact you or talk to you anywhere. So,
yes, I thought so. Yes, you had the 2 bombs in your ears, and you had the Nazi flag on your forehead, I believe, right?
No, that was it was a metaphorical symbol of the disassembly of the a lot of the propaganda that is being forced upon us in the mainstream media. And in fact, actually that was supposed to be a that was like the Mickey Mouse hat with fuses going into.
Well, look, you sound like you're doing you're in a very different space right now. So tell me how things are going with you. Do you still have any kind of a possession going on?
Actually, in fact, it feels like it could be that. I don't know if, in fact, that is the case 100%, but I've been feeling phenomenal like that quite a bit today, actually. It was pretty intense. And I feel things like family members being forced into my body, forced into my chakras, particularly the third chakra. And and I feel like phenomena as though they're being forced into me, and I have no very few recourses in escaping.
Well,
that.
here's the recourse. Here's the recourse that I'm going to suggest that you have right now. If you feel they're being forced into any of your chakras or any of your body in whatever way whatsoever, I want you to fill that area with love. Fill it with love. Let them be cared for. Let them be nurtured. Let them be educated. Let them be held in the love of your grace. And just bypass any of the negative forces that may have pushed them into that area of your expression. You might see your chakra system as extremely expanded, and because of that expansion, they may just be walking into that energetic field of their own accord, or maybe, as you say, maybe being drawn in by another force. But just fill it with love, and really, if you can follow what, like say the third chakra. So the third chakra it's a masculine chakra, and the sacred male comes through the cosmos, through the solar arrays, down into that chakra. And so feel a strong, beautiful, benevolent, loving, masculine grace come into those family members, and allow them really to be healed in a masculine way, as they come into that. Do you think you can do that?
I certainly can give that a good try, and see about doing that. I've tried so many things, and I'm open to that, so I definitely will consider doing that for sure.
Yeah,
it's been a few.
I suggestion, and for you, my friend, it's so interesting that you're calling up. This is so amazing. I want you to go ahead and I want you to email me on kfireforall@yahoo.com. Okay, I haven't blocked you from that.
Okay, I was trying there, and it was saying that the emails were bouncing, so I don't know what's going on there. If that's KFIREFORALL @yahoo.com. And I'm going to give you another constructive recourse for some of the parasitical actions that may still be occurring for you, okay? I'd appreciate that very, very much. Very much, yeah.
But you sound very cogent and coherent, and I'm happy to hear from you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I've been doing pretty good overall, and I've been practicing a lot of your techniques, your Huna power prayer, which is one I recommend everyone. If they haven't done that, if you YouTube that,
the Huna is amazing.
It is. It's very powerful, and I've found a few variations and techniques, and I'm using that one as well, that actually seem to make it a lot more useful and empowering, and the effects come on a lot more immediate, and it's pretty amazing. And it's just a matter of changing the wording around a little bit. Instead of asking the Amakua to grant you, your ego self, pretty much the gift, it's rather to ask the Amakua to grant itself these gifts, these things that you pray for. And then in the end, what happens, it's kind of like self-service. I notice when I pray for others, it happens immediately. The same thing as I ask for the Amakua, it happens immediately and more powerfully.
Nice.
And I begin to notice that you are pretty much that. You are that.
Well, it's wonderful. I'm just going to give our listeners a little bit of background on you, okay?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, this is Tyler Vincent, really strongly Kundalini activated individual that he immersed himself into a war zone about 4 years ago, I think, and there's a lot of heavy entity energies that float around war zones, and these entities, his Kundalini allowed these entities to possess him, and it was a very, 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 very difficult journey that he is he has partaken of since then. And I really feel strongly that he's coming out of it, even as I speak to him now. Can you validate anything that I just said there, Tyler?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was entities or Kundalini or other things, because I know the divine can control all that and does control all that and uses them, I guess you could say. I mean, like, if you allowed it. So I don't know. I never had much of the entity issue until I started talking to you, I think, on Facebook, and then you started bringing that up. Every time I asked you about anything, and that's all I started looking at for you. And that's all I saw. And then after a while, I stopped looking at that, and I started noticing all the Kundalini activity, the entity activity started to subside. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really. I have seen a few entities here and there. I have seen a few things that appear like them. I've had a lot of really wild phenomenological experiences, and I tend to see that more as a divine nature than I see it as an entity thing. So I do try to keep an open mind that way and look at it that way.
I certainly won't suggest that all you've been having is entity contact, but for a certain amount of time, yeah, there was definitely some conscious interruptions that were occurring within your equation. Whether you could feel it when it was happening or not, I could certainly feel it and hear it.
Yeah, I
have noticed. I've noticed.
That's when they showed up. Like, every time I went to use was when it got worse and worse and worse. And then, yeah, I did notice that. I did notice that because, yeah, we had some interesting conversations.
I just want to congratulate you for hanging in there, Tyler. I want to congratulate. It's not an easy row to hoe, really. The Kundalini, first of all, I believe it came up naturally within you, did it not?
I had a spontaneous awakening. I had no idea what it was, probably for about 4 or 5 years prior to, or during the activation, after it was activated. And I came across your website or your YouTube videos, and that's the first time I even knew what it was called, at least in Hindu terms. And
Right.
And basically, I had a teacher prior to the awakening who was very much active in the had this Kundalini going on for about 50 years now, in fact. And he had a spontaneous awakening as well. And he was talking about it here and there, but he never made that the pinnacle of his discussion. So I didn't really think of it as that or know it as that, but he did mention it once in a while. And he mostly just talked about God, the divine. And so for me, it was a pretty powerful experience in learning, some of the different ways of looking at force and how people see it and what they call it. And that changed my whole equation around amazing. In fact, I learned a lot about it, and I'm seeing now it's becoming very public, very popular. There's a lot of people starting to get out there, and I foresee that's going to continue more and more as people understand what it is, in their own ways, unique ways.
Are you the person that's been reposting these radio shows?
Yeah. I got Kundalini 2014. I've been posting your videos online for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I'd like to extend a level of gratitude to you and to your Kundalini for the amount of people that have been helped in a selfless service fashion by you, Tyler Vincent. And I will be effectively unblocking you as soon as this program is over if you want to converse again.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I'm certainly open to building bridges and keeping them open. And you're always, I really do appreciate always having somebody who's been through a lot of these things to talk to, because there's always, I find even the Kundalini responds very well to every question, every sincere act of seeking and looking for a help. And if you have any issues, going on, I recommend people do that, is sincerely go to your way to ask and search, and every little bit you do will help you out in huge ways. That's what happened to me. And I got my own YouTube page, Kundalini Kova, Kova. If you look that up on YouTube, I've got a whole bunch of videos I'll be putting up shortly. And
so just in case you didn't know, that would be Kundalini Kova, Kova, and that's from Tyler Vincent. And, he's had a long, challenging path. And you're hearing him right now, folks. He's come through it. He's come through it with a level of consciousness and cogency. And he came to this program today. It's the program that's all about love, all about going into love and expressing love and experiencing the divine love. And wow, Tyler, it's a real pleasure to reconnect with you, my friend.
Well, I'm really grateful for that, and I'm honored, and I am glad to be of service and to help you out in whatever ways I can. And I appreciate very much all of the good work and the service you provide to people, and the words that you spoke today are going to resonate out there in the ethers for infinity, I'm sure, and a lot of good people out there are going to take these words to heart and have a much more beautiful life because of them. So I'm grateful
and
for that.
They will resonate because of the selfless service that you do as well, Tyler. Now let's see. So how do you feel in that third chakra right about now?
It's kind of tense. I feel like there's an energy. It's kind of milky white, and it expands outwards from the inner chakra into the rib cage, and it can be very, very tight at times, and very, very.
This actually is normal. This is a form of an abdominal kriya. Don't be surprised if you start feeling the area of the third chakra, wanting to tuck itself under the rib cage. Have you had that sensation?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's part of what's called a bandha lock, BHANDA lock, and a bandha is basically Sanskrit for lock, and it's part of what is called the Maha Bandha within the Sanskrit terminology, and this has to do with the very specific locks that the Kundalini automatically puts your body into in order for its radiance to. It's like it's another form of a capacitor, really. As you put yourself into the Mahabandha, the energy increases exponentially. But it's hard. It can be kind of a painful thing. I mean, having the diaphragm tucked under the rib cage it doesn't hurt because she's been preparing you to have this, or you wouldn't be experiencing that level of it yet. But with your eyes up and your fingers in the position, your tongue up, your rectum squeezed closed, and your diaphragm tucked under your rib cage, that is the Mahabandha. And you may want to see if she wants you to do that. Okay, yeah, I'll give that a try. I have found doing that actually previously worked very, very well. And there's a few other techniques I've been practicing as well. Some of them date back 3,000 years, I guess, to the Kundalini following Moses at the time, and they were all being ravaged by fiery serpents. And Moses went off and built a caduceus out of bronze and put it in the center of the town, and they all stared at that, and they'd look up, and those who looked upon that actually their lives were spared, apparently, is what it says in the Bible. And that's what I've been doing. I'm practicing that, is staring at a caduceus, radiating that chakra with divine light, and you can do that anytime, anywhere. It's a really powerful technique, as long as you're not being over. It's a lot. It can produce a lot of energy. So, Well, I've been actually, as you've been speaking, I've been working on your third, and I've taken out a little bit of, shall we say, diversion, and giving it grace and giving it a level of luminosity that I think will help you respond well to the Mahabandha. This is what she wants you to do. If you can try that just for a little bit. And what will happen is with the Mahabandha, the tongue up, the eyes up, the fingers locked, the rectum closed or squeezed closed, that's fairly easy for the conscious mind to do. But what will happen with the abdominals is they'll start to quiver. the multiple muscle systems within the abdominal area will start to quiver and jerk in a kind of an autonomous fashion. And then as it increases, as that kriya, it's like a kriya, as that kriya increases, wham! All of a sudden it'll tuck itself under the rib cage, and you won't be allowed to breathe in a normal way. But don't worry about it. She'll control your breathing. And you might see if this is what she is inviting you to participate in, okay? Don't force it. Don't try to tuck your diaphragm under your rib cage, but allow yourself to be open to that occurring.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I'll give that a shot. I'll give it a shot too. Yeah.
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 Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a few interesting techniques I've found for dealing with third chakra issues that have been very helpful as well, and some of them include mantra visualizations of light as well that kind of go quite along well, I think, with your chakra breathing system you have on KES1. And it's a process of punching, actually, that area. I think you mentioned once that one of your students did chest pounding kriyas for years, in fact. And I found that interesting because I started practicing this on my own volition, finding that it actually really cleared out a lot of energy in that area. Using mantras. You might find
that is true. That you don't know. Punching is one thing, but a heavy pat all over the head, the neck, the face, the shoulders, the chest, the abdominal areas, even down on the inner thighs. Not the genitals, the gluteus maximus area, the back of the legs, the front of the legs, the knees, anywhere your hands can reach. If you can give a heavy pat on that, that is also a form of kriya that the Kundalini will respond nicely to. So you might, if you're doing that, that's a great way. Yeah.
Very much. I know. I've been practicing that actually. It's funny you mentioned that because I've been doing that, especially in the legs, in the butt, in the thighs, etc. Like that area. Doing a lot of yoga, a lot of stretching will take away a lot of fear. It will take away a lot of anxiety, self-image issues, that kind of thing. You can touch your toes and really stretch into those areas. That first chakra, which may contain a lot of fight, flight programming, that can be removed through those kind of kriyas. And I've been doing that, and I found slapping myself like that in those areas really dislodged a lot of that energy and cleaned it up in amazing ways.
Yeah, that's stuff that it's really, and especially the top of the head. You might try it on the top of the head and the face as well. Not punching, not punching. A strong pat, you might say, but certainly not a punch. Okay.
Okay, I'll try not to abuse myself too much. Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Chris Maya's responding, says, it sounds like we're talking about emotional freedom technique, EFT, and I can't say that I am promoting EFT, even though I do. I like the EFT scenario, but this is not tapping. This is a fairly heavy pat that you give with your hands and your fingers closed together. And it's you know how when you're clapping your hands like that, this would be using your closed hands and patting all over the head with some force and the face and the neck and the torso, the chest. It's a form of a heavy type of I should say a softer form of a strong slap.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So no punching. It's been a hard enough journey already, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild journey, and some of it's been pretty tough. Some of it's been pretty amazing. But yeah. It's a good thing overall, though. I know that in the end everything is going to work out beautifully, and I'm not really I'm not overly concerned anymore. I can tell, after a while, a lot of the difficulties do fade, and I encourage people, no matter how seemingly difficult your time may be, just to persevere, because in the end it will be worth it. It's However many lives we come back, we just keep coming back over and over again. We're going to have the same kind of mini awakening going on. It's best to face as much as you possibly can, if you can, whatever you can bear, in as healthy ways you possibly can. And I've been doing that. I've faced a lot of karma, a lot of negative karma, a lot of things, and
yes, you did. Yes, you did indeed.
I've been guided to do a lot of interesting things by the Kundalini as well, which is pretty interesting. Like things like hanging myself, which is one thing she got me to do personally, and and that was interesting.
Not by the neck, everybody. He's not talking by the neck. Or are you?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
hanging by the arms or hanging by the feet, that's fine. Hanging by the neck, and unless you've got some sort of a real blockage in the neck, you don't really need to hang by the neck. Maybe you did.
Yeah, and it was pretty wild. I blew up my ceiling fan just before, just to prove to me that nothing would happen. And then basically that was it. And it was all, I guess, a fear test. I don't fully white grasp it on everything, but it was, I think, a fear test to overcome a lot of my fear and my trust issues and my fear of death, and I faced it and I survived it. And I was put through a lot of other things too, and a lot of them, some of them didn't go the way I was expecting. Some of them I ended up hurting myself really bad. Some of them were miraculous. Some of them I instantly, my skull would change shape. Like I hit myself in the head with a rock. She told me to do that, and then suddenly my whole skull went round. And totally smooth. All the cracks went away. Every little problem I had in my skull. Other times she had me break my toes with a barbell, and I dropped the barbell on my toes, shattered them, and went walking and jogging on them and all kinds of shit. And then eventually I
would put into the entity realm of, that would be Yeah.
I'll ask my Kundalini me, was that an entity, my Kundalini in me, or was that you, please? And bypass all entities, all demons, everything, please, and speak to me right now and tell me for real, absolutely, whether or not that was you 100%. On behalf of God himself, almighty, and all that is true and holy right now, did you do that to me? Yes, I did do that to you. And I made you go through that, and I put you through that for a reason. And so I just want people to know to be careful and not to do things to harm themselves, because that's not a very smart move.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's absolutely true. My friend, nice to reconnect, and do email me on the kfireforall@yahoo.com, and let me send you that little piece of assistance. Okay.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your words and all your service and the beauty and the love that you share, because they're very big help out there, and I don't really know anyone in this world who is doing such a great service for people who are going through this. So thank you so much, and to every one of you who are, in fact, engaged in that in whatever way you are, all your service and every little bit you can do to help others and like-minded souls, will go a long way to make this planet a more beautiful place. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler. And so that was Tyler Vincent, everybody, and what a great story. He has really come through a lot, and I'm honored that he would call us up today. So nice to hear from you, Tyler, and look forward to more communication. Let's see now. Gerline has written. He says, I've been having a lot of experiencing with my sleep dream. Oh, no. I got to go back a little further here. My physical health is also declining. I've been dealing with fatigue for most of my life since puberty, which for me was really early at age 8. The fatigue and brain fog. Oh boy, what happened here? Somebody wrote something. Okay. All right. The fatigue and brain fog is hard to work with. I try to eat a clean vegan diet, but still having problems with. The first thing that comes to me, Gerline, is to stop being a vegan. Definitely stop being a vegan. Do not do that. Find a quality of meat that you need to eat. The chicken or the fish or the turkey or I don't care if it's chocolate-covered grasshoppers, but you've got to stop the vegan diet. that is going to help your fatigue. That is going to help your brain fog. That is going to perhaps begin to reverse the declining health that you're having. Veganism is more of a disease than anything else. Let's see, continuing on here. And Gerline continues, I've been having a lot of experiencing my sleep dream. I remember all my dreams and feel that I'm living more in my dreams than in this reality where I'm depressed and not doing much. One of the things about vegetarianism is that it represents a stationary, energetic expression, whereas a more of an omnivorous type of approach with eating includes the action of running towards or running away. When the hunt is hunting, so let's just use a wolf. When a wolf is hunting, the wolf is running. It's chasing. It's strategizing. It's planning. It's a very action-oriented scenario, and as you begin to take in the compact proteins that comprises meat, you begin to take in some of the more activity-based essences that are within the experiences of the hunt. And so I will suggest once again that as you change your diet, you change away from veganism. I do not support veganism for Kundalini people. Actually, not even for normal people. It's a very egocentric and a very egotistic way of looking at your diet based upon a person feeling sorry because it has a face or eyes. Well, let me tell you, plants have faces and eyes too. So don't think that you're getting away from murdering life, with all the judgment associated with that word. You're not getting away with not being a murderer when you're eating plants. Science has proven that. Okay, science has proven that. So you need to get behind your holy science there. You need to eat some meat, and you need to have the B vitamins and certainly the B12 in your case, and all the minerals, the magnesium, the salts, all of these things that are comprised in life, consuming life. And so this is really something that I'm going to suggest that you partake of, Gerline. It's going to change everything for you. And Gerline continues and says, I find that helping others is energizing. Are you of service to others? Well, I strive to be. And thank you for writing in to the chat group here. And Chrism, I understand it's hard to do anything when you're depressed, he says. I understand that. And Samtara speaks up here. She says, Gerline, she just said something about writing. And then Cole is coming in with, can B12 be low even if it shows up okay on a blood test? Typically, your blood is not going to lie to you. So if you're having, if you're feeling, like low energy or things of that nature, something else is going on. Perhaps not and it depends on how it shows up as okay. Is it towards the low borderline? Is it towards the high borderline? I mean, you got to look at the panel and then look at the patterns that they give you, what they assume to be is normal in the normal human body. And so Gerline, this is going to be difficult for you. It's not easy to change, especially if you've been a lifelong vegetarian or vegan. And I know Centaur doesn't have any experience in this area here. She's just, this is new for her to have to go from being a vegan vegetarian to a meat-eating, face-consuming, carnivorous omnivore. Right, Centaur?
Yum, yum. That's right. Yes, that's right. It is indeed. Yeah, I mean, I ate meat all my life, but when I was a vegan, I was a very dedicated one. And, Yeah, it's not easy. The ego finds it hard to go back and eat meat. It does. Um, and I agree with what you said as well, just about the B12 chrism. There's a big range of normal. So it can be normal, but you need to ask what's your actual number, because you can be at the low end of normal. I mean, it's a huge range. So I wouldn't just accept that. If your hemoglobin, like if your iron and all of that is normal, but you're feeling all the symptoms like what Berlin is describing of somebody who's anemic, well, you can be anemic through B12. So check what the number is and see if you're at the low end of normal.
Now, Gerlene continues. She says, "Thanks for answering. I've been," or he or she, I don't know. It seems, I don't know if that's a girl's name or not. He or she says, "I've been vegetarian my whole life and do not feel right eating meat at all." Well, I think you need to change what you qualify as right and wrong. Yeah, and Atlanta Seeger's been vegan for all her life too, I guess, and is asking if she takes methylcobalamin, B12 supplements. But I think that, eating meat would be the way to go for Gerlene. This is what I'm being given to say to him or her. And that's what I'm being given. I understand you've been a vegetarian all your life, and Centaura was vegetarian for many, many years too. But her Kundalini one day told her to consume meat. Can you tell that story, Centaura?
Yes, I can, of course, Chrism. I'm just posting the first question there for you to refer to in a minute from Gerlene. Yes, I was a vegan. I was a vegetarian first of all, and then I was a vegan. And one day, I told this before, but one day I had this urge, a compulsion, this feeling that I was to eat fish, and I was absolutely horrified because I had stopped calling things meat or, fish. Everything was flesh. So to me, it was quite horrific to actually contemplate eating any form of flesh, fish or beef or anything like that. But the compulsion would not go away, this urge that I was to do it. And so I had heard, you had said this to me sometime previously, that this would happen. So I knew that I knew it was for my Kundalini that I was to eat the meat, the fish. And so I followed that. I decided, okay, I will, because the urge would not go away as much as I wanted it to. And so I had to consider what was the easiest type of fish that I could eat. And for me, it was soup, chowder. So I got a bowl of chowder and I sat down, and I was with a friend, a Kundalini friend, who was, totally amused by the whole thing because she could understand the conflict that I was feeling. Anyway, I put the spoon of chowder into my mouth, dreading it. And from the moment that I tasted it, it was orgasmic. It was absolutely amazing, the taste of it, and I knew that was what my body needed, and I knew that I was correct to surrender to what the Kundalini was giving for me to eat. And then I ate fish for some time after that, and the Kundalini pulled me in and out of that, as well at times. Recently, I ate some beef, which I haven't eaten in a long, long time. So I really, if you listen to the Kundalini will most certainly direct people to eat meat and to eat flesh. And she directs people too, of course, to become vegetarian for a time. I mean, you're saying that also, aren't you?
I'm amazed, Centaura. Maybe this happens to you. I don't know. When I say that plants have feelings, or that plants feel when they're being, ripped from the soil and thrown into a boiling pot of water, people just kind of that doesn't resonate with them at all. It's just like, oh, well, everybody eats plants. They don't feel. And because they don't have eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and they don't scream, does that mean that they don't feel? What do you think?
No, absolutely. Plants of consciousness. It's just, and they absolutely do, and they communicate with each other. And in the same way that, you can feel the consciousness of a tree or something very large. Also, small little plants right down to cress, the salad cress. There's consciousness in that. It's just a different form because it doesn't have, eyes and that a face, as you say. Doesn't mean that it doesn't feel. It does. It does. And so when eating plants, we also have to give gratitude because they're giving their life for us as well, I mean, it is a form of life, without a doubt.
Yeah, just this whole idea that people think that they can get around killing and consuming life because they're not eating an animal, to me, is just silly. Even Alana Seeker says, but you are killing more plants by eating meat, all the plants that the animals ate. And, it just goes against the understanding, the divine understanding of how life has been set up on this world. Life has been set up on this world so that it feeds off of itself. Life feeds upon life. The plants take nutrients from the microorganisms in the earth. The animals eat the plants. The animals eat the animals. I mean, it is the way things are operated on this world, and we've got to take the egocentrism out of it. Or, a highly sensitive person is going to have some of the problems that Gerline is having right now. Forcing themselves to be vegetarian because their culture demands it. You've got to be willing to step outside of the parameter of what the culture you live in insists is the right way to be. Especially when you're talking about Kundalini phenomena, Kundalini infusion within a body. Period. And it doesn't mean that you always have to be carnivorous or that you only need to eat meat. You can do like what Santara's done. She pays attention, and she eats meat for a little while, and then she gets the intuition or the instruction to go back to being a vegetarian. Notice she didn't go back to being a vegan. Did you go back to being a vegan too?
I eat meat ethically, though. I mean, as much as I possibly can. I mean, what you were saying earlier about the hunt and all of that, I feel that there's real truth in that. And I mean, some of the farming practices that are going on in the world now, I certainly would not support. I will not eat chicken.
She says nothing like the factory farming happens anywhere else in the world. This is true. This is true. I don't believe in factory farming at all, and I don't believe in the harvesting of the oceans the way these great ships that go off the various coastlines and just like pull in all species of fish, even the ones that they're not going to consume, kill them, and throw them back into the ocean. This is so bad. It's so bad.
That's right. So, now, factory, farming fish is horrendous as well.
It is.
These farms for fish, it's so wrong,
I mean, if you have the opportunity in the culture that you live in, now I know in India they don't eat the cows, and so that's probably not going to be an option for you. But you'll have deer. Deer may be an option. Fish may be an option that you go out and catch yourself, or you buy from a fresh fish market. I mean, there's no easy way to kill anything. And so you just got to get over this idea that you're a murderer if you're killing an animal, because you're not. You're not a murderer. I mean, I've got these German Shepherds right here, and if we're all murderers, then so are those German Shepherds. And let me tell you, these two dogs are the nicest, most sweetest, loving animals you'll ever find. So I don't buy it. I see it as human-based egocentrism, and people need to get beyond that. Gurleen is writing again. He or she says, I was vegetarian until the age of 16 when I felt a resonance with changing my diet further to become more plant-based and not participate in animal cruelty, and so I went vegan. Yay. I resonate with plants a lot in the color green and feel good eating the plant. You know, I worked in Santa Barbara, California. I worked for a mental institution that was taking care of autistic children, and I had one of my patients was named Mitch, and Mitch would go out and Mitch would get on his hands and knees and on the lawn out there, and he'd get out on his hands and knees, and he'd bring his ear right next to the ground, and we were all kind of, you know, I'm looking at him and I go, okay. I'd say, hey, Mitch, what are you doing? What are you doing there on the lawn? And he said, I can hear them scream as he pulled the grass from the ground. So Gurleen, I mean, you can feel great about the color green and feel good with eating plants, but they scream just as loudly as a deer or a rabbit or a fish or anything else that has a face and eyes. And so it's just a level of what you choose to allow to have consciousness for you. What level of life you choose to decide is relevant to your eating comfort, I guess. To me, all life is worthy of gratitude and of consumption. As you eat, so does that life force come into you. As that life force comes into you, so does it go into your Kundalini. As it comes into your Kundalini, it is literally in the arms of grace, in the arms of the divine. So Kundalini people, I want you to eat meat. If your Shakti, your sacred feminine is telling you to eat the meat, then I want you to eat it. If she tells you to become a vegetarian, not a vegan, but a vegetarian, then I will suggest that you do that. And I've never, ever, ever, and you know, maybe Centaur has a different experience, but I've never, ever heard the Shakti go, oh, you must become a vegan. Because that is not, in my opinion, that is an egocentric form of food selection and a very selective form of mind manipulation behind that in order to run from a fear of guilt, and a guilt that is based in the taking of a life that is similar to your life. Not expanding the definition of life to include all the different levels of life, but just one particular mammalian form of life.
Yeah, my experience. No, because I can say that I was a vegan, but in actual fact, that wasn't how I became a vegan. I just stopped. I didn't realize I was a vegan when I was a vegan, Chrism, if you know what I mean. It wasn't until afterwards, as I was going through it, I realized I wasn't eating dairy and I wasn't eating any animal products at all. It was also a time where I felt intense, extreme love for my fellow creatures, and that was part of my process as well.
But not your plant.
No. I know, but that's what I'm saying to you. When we start talking about vegan, I'm using that term, but it wasn't how, like the Kundalini most certainly didn't say to me, now you shall become vegan, whereas she definitely said, in inverted commas said, communicated, I wasn't eating meat for a time and then I was eating meat. So I'm saying I use the term vegan, but I probably shouldn't, because that's not how I actually... Do you know what I'm saying, Chrism?
Yeah, I do. Well, I know this flies against for the Indians, for the people from the Indus Peninsula, the country of India. and other countries, where veganism, that is the way. I know a lot of the Buddhist countries as well are, they're strict vegetarians.
I went through phases as well, though, with Kundalini Chrism, where I would cry inside the shop when I would see cut flowers.
Right.
As much as I would cry when I passed, chicken or,
but
so.
When you were chewing on that lettuce, boy, there were no tears.
Yeah. No, there were. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Yes, I would have become extremely aware of the life in
so that's an invitation for extreme gratitude, and it's the same with eating chicken or fish. And I agree with Alana Seeker. We're not trying to, we're not participating in the factory farming thing. We're participating in local farms that have the chickens, the free-range chickens that run around. They get freedom. They get fed the corn and whatnot. Typically they're organic. We participate in my opinion, more of a natural attitude towards eating, rather than cutting the beaks off of chickens so that they lay their eggs. It's like horrible stuff.
Yeah.
We participate the same way that nature around us participates on this world. Nature eats the eggs of her creatures. There's a certain level of balance that is being incurred through the natural form of food selection. And we are not above that. Humanity is not above that. We eat seeds of plants, which are the eggs of plants. Plant placentas, my friend. So let's be honest about what it is we are doing. Let us be honest. Life lives off of life. And whatever form of egocentric, guilt, hiding, food, consumptive choice that you have, with your Kundalini, you will need to listen to her. And if she says eat the prime rib, well then, my friends, I suggest you go for the prime rib. And I don't eat prime rib myself, but if my Kundalini came in and told me, eat that prime rib, well then I would have no choice. And I would do my best to be extremely grateful to the animal that provided that prime rib for me. Okay. I'm ready for some questions. You're ready.
Okay. So, Chrism, could we just, I'm going to post in the chat room there, the very first thing that you were asked by Gerline that we missed because so many people were contributing, because I think it's an important one. So I'm hitting send now. Okay, here it goes. There you go. Lordy. This is from Gerline.
Yeah, she's depressed, and or he or she is depressed. Mental health problems for many years now. Feeling really lonely, hopeless, and unloved. I feel really lost, even though you're saving all those lives by not eating meat. I can understand how this would occur. I'm looking at it. Hang on. Yeah, I do feel that, once again, it's going right back to the food intake. This person is not receiving the nutrients that they need to receive. And the electrochemical responses within the system is not being honored with the nutrients that will help run it in a better way, a more healthy, a more balanced way. Egocentrism is being forced upon a physical system that requires a different form of food intake. And as this food intake is dealt with in a different fashion, the depression will be released. The mental health problems will be released. The feelings of loneliness and hopelessness and unlove and being unloved will be released. You've got to take your ego out of control of what it is you consume. Period. There is no way around it. But I know, your culture says no. Your stomach says no. Your taste bud says no. your ego says no. And so you need to decide, is Grace going to call the shots of my life? Is Grace going to control my life? Or is my ego going to control my life? And therein, you have the choice, Kundalini. You have the choice. Over.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. I suppose just before I go to the questions, sometimes I feel, because I know quite a few passionate vegans, sometimes it's almost like a religion, where there's a conditioning of behavior and things that, sometimes we need to stop and just look at that and open ourselves, because sometimes we're closing off an aspect of our own essence when we get overwhelmed, and when we cut off a part of ourselves that needs to communicate with this part of our existence and our essence. So I would just like to say to Grolene as well, to just open herself or himself to considering, going beyond plants to nourish the body and nourish all the mechanisms and the cells and everything in their body.
What you can do is you can bake a loaf of bread in the form of a chicken, and you on that little chicken.
Okay.
You could put some M&Ms for eyes and some little sprinkles for a beak, and start out that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to eat a cow, but I mean, yeah. Anyway, so it's a big deal and it's a big step, and I just hear what you're saying, and it feels to me as well as if what you're saying is really good advice, as much as Grolene will probably think it's not. So I suppose I'm thinking, please listen and open yourself to that.
People don't like to hear what I'm saying about that. They don't like to. It goes against their cultural values. It goes against what they've been raised with, and it is a human contrived conception of food intake based upon guilt processing through the killing of another species. And you'll notice that the wolves and the tigers and the lions and the sharks and the whales and the dolphins and the chickens themselves do not harbor such guilt. So there you have it. Emulate them. Over.
Okay, thank you. So we're not going to get through all the questions, but I'm going to start with a couple that came in from into the inbox that are not from the group. So I'm going to ask you the first one. How does a soul, a dead person, decide to be reborn in a particular family, place, time, or country?
Karma. Typically, the soul will have karma with those family members. Not all the time. But typically, the soul will have some sort of a karmic responsibility or karmic ribbon or tie to that family. So you can become your daughter's daughter, or you can become the father of your grandfather. And typically, the souls will work it out amongst themselves. I frankly don't feel that kind of an attachment with my family, my personal family. Nobody there has Kundalini. Nobody is even close to having that. And I think that the vessel was chosen from a woman and a man who could complete a level of genetic dispensation that would allow the producing a body that would be able to house and hold the Kundalini as it awakens and activated within that person at a young age, at a very young age. So in that sense, it was a body that was specifically selected for a specific task. And I feel that also happens to people as well. But for the most part, as pertaining to the question, it's typically a karmic development and a karmic agreement to stick with a family ancestral line. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. When a person appears in a dream, is it due to subconscious of dreamer or will of person appearing in his dream?
What? Say again?
Yeah.
Ask.
When a person appears in a dream, is it due to the subconscious of the dreamer himself, or is it the will of the person who is appearing in the dream?
Is this a Kundalini
Do they
person
impose?
asking?
Yes, it is, Chrism.
So they're using terms like subconscious?
It would seem so.
Well, it can happen in a lot of different ways. It can be your Freudian pseudo-psychological response of the subconscious bringing that up for you. Let's just use it in a sexual context because that's what Freud was really into. So in a sexual way, yeah, if you're lusting after a person in your life and then all of a sudden you dream about that person, well, there you go. That is what I think would be an idealized subconscious variable of physical expression within the dream state.
Okay. The next question. Some known and unknown woman appears in my dream and we have intercourse. Most of the time they take the initiative, but we don't ejaculate. Would these dreams hinder my fluid retention?
We don't ejaculate and there's two women showing up? Is that right?
Well,
how many guys?
This is from a gentleman. I'm just reading the question. So he doesn't ejaculate, and I'm assuming yeah. Would these dreams hinder my fluid retention in actual life?
With the what? Say again? You're laughing, aren't you? I can tell you're laughing.
I'm not. Would these dreams hinder my fluid retention in actual life?
It could. It could. But if the person isn't losing the fluids in the dream life, well, you're probably not going to lose it in the awake life. And as far as being visited by women, if this is a Kundalini person, that can just basically be a test for the legitimacy and the self-discipline of the brahmacharya, to use the Hindu term. Or
how would that work?
The celibacy.
Yeah, but I mean, the women, known or unknown, that come in the dream, take the initiative and they do have intercourse. Are you saying that they should not, or are you saying that it's retaining the fluid is the test?
Are these dream women coming in or actual women?
Yeah.
Which?
Dream women.
So the dream women come in and they make love with this guy, right?
That's correct.
And he doesn't ejaculate, right?
That's correct.
Question. It seems like the question is kind of answered through the actions of the dream itself. Is he asking, is he going to lose the fluid in his physical waking life because he didn't lose it in the dream life?
Well, that's what he asked.
Is this guy practicing celibacy?
I don't know.
Well, Amelia, these are important questions.
Okay.
Obviously, he's concerned about spilling his seed, right?
Yes.
So I would say that even though you're having sex in the dream life and you're not ejaculating in the dream life, that can carry over to your waking life as a test by the Shakti in the dream life to support the lack of the loss of fluid in your waking life. So I'm going to say that no, it will not have the effect of spilling your seed in the waking life. Unless,
thank you, Chrism.
Unless the Shakti takes the pressure off the testicular vessels and the different microtubules within the testicle and the vas deferens of the male, she can automatically release the pressure by releasing sperm in the sleep state without any kind of an accompanying orgasm, which would be a healthy pressure release controlled by the Kundalini itself. Okay.
Thank you, Chrism. Sir, in last radio show you guided how to control lust. How should a person control anger, desire, attachment, jealousy, greed, and arrogance?
Through self-correction and forgiveness.
Thank you. The next question is, I never did this meditation and I'm sticking to the Safedies. Merkaba is mentioned a lot on the internet and I'm curious about where it originated from and how some enlightened people talk about it, yet others call it dangerous. What is Merkaba meditation about and does it fit into a Kundalini context?
Not really, but I mean, a Merkaba is a geometrical form that people think they can use to travel through the dimensional folds with, and that to receive enlightenment with, and it's basically an exogenous form of hopeful meditation. Basically, once again, as people like to do, they're reaching outside of themselves in order to affect something that is inside themselves. And I know that some of the people form the Merkaba from within and they expand it around themselves. And I guess that's a little bit healthier. But within a Kundalini context, it is not necessary. And I would be surprised to find any enlightened people that had, used the Merkaba meditation to achieve enlightenment and the various goals that are within the expectation of enlightenment. Merkaba is from a Kundalini context a waste of time, an unessential human formulated behavioral belief system that's been promulgated by various different authors. One of the main ones calls himself Thoth, T-O-T-H, and he's assuming that he's channeling this ancient Egyptian god or so, he thinks. In my opinion, he's channeling an entity. Anyway, so he put out 2 or 3 books out there that talk about Merkaba meditation and rebirthing and all of this stuff, and I just find it to be a exogenous or an outside-oriented ego kind of control, but not as badly as some of the other systems. But it's not necessary to Kundalini at all. You do not need to imagine yourself in a geometric formation, doing specific, meditational exercises. You can just be a person sitting on a chair with your feet flat on the floor, no legs crossed, your fingers in the Gyan Mudra, your chin slightly tilted towards the chest, your eyes up, your tongue up, and saying, I am at one with the all that I am, and boom! That'll get you there. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. The next question is, I am reading the Safedies and practicing daily, which I find easy for me to do, but my problem is the 5 Tibetans. About 3 months ago, I tried to do the Tibetans. I know Chrism says to start with 5 of each, but my ego took over and I did 21 of the first And it felt so good, my ego said, keep going, so I did. But then I did 6 of the second and maybe 5 of the next and 4 and so on, and finished doing them all randomly. I almost died. It was the worst mistake. I feel like I shattered into tiny cells. I could feel myself floating in my living room with the cells dividing at a speed I could not even imagine possible. I went into panic mode, and there's a bit more about this, but it was a very painful experience that took 4 hours to feel like myself again and took me weeks to get grounded. And I have never tried it again, even though that's 3 months ago. I feel I'm not ready. Or am I letting my ego control me, or am I being scared?
You're being scared and you're letting your ego control you, and you need to not do what your ego makes you think is the right way to do it. You did it the wrong way. So you made a mistake, and you suffered the rewards of that mistake. Correct the mistake. Do 5 or 6 of each one in the way that it was designed for you to do, not the way your ego told you to do, and you'll be fine. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. I hear movement, this is from the groups now. I hear movement of planets determine the happenings in the world at large. So how do these affect the Kundalini awakened or activated being?
What? Say again?
I hear movement of planets determine the happenings in the world at large.
I remember that. I don't agree with that premise at all. The planets do not determine your future. They do not determine your past. They do not determine your near future or your recent past. The planets have their own thing that they're doing, and they don't necessarily impact you. I know that astrology is a little different. We're looking at the zodiac and things of that nature, and there's some planetary influences within that. But once again, it is not sealed in stone, and I don't think that a person needs to start off with the premise that the planets have direct influences over our lives, and how does the Kundalini handle that? Kundalini will come to you regardless of what planet you've got in ascendant, regardless of what quincux you might be having with planets. Kundalini knows what to do, when to do, and how to do with any given individual, with whatever astrological sign they may have. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. So there are a couple of more questions, but I'll hold them over for next week. So before
Ask
we
one.
finish, I would...
Ask
okay.
one.
Okay, so the next question then is, is there the so-called lower Kundalini and higher Kundalini, and what's the difference?
That's a perfect question to ask. No, there isn't. Over. Now, if we can go ahead, I'm going to put Rosemary on.
Okay.
Rosemary, do you have announcements to make, my dear?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chrism. And what you're referring to is our next seminar here in Minnesota, in which we welcome people from around the globe, across the country and other countries. It will be October 28th and 29th, and Joey and Katie and I are working on our plan of action to get the word out to people here. And again, it's going to be in Mankato, which is about an hour south of the Twin Cities. And we have some details to work out yet, and we're getting to that. So was thinking today of the benefits of my seminar and how what I have in my life now I have because I began that Kundalini life with a seminar. Totally a guidance, because I had heard the word once. I read an article of yours about service in the Edge magazine here in town, and I said, oh, okay. And I arranged my schedule to go. And then my second wise decision was to stay connected to you as your student. And I'm grateful for all of that guidance. And when you said today about listen to your Kundalini, I was thinking I don't seem to do that as much in my life as I wish I did. I just kind of run by what I think I should be doing next in my life, But
Thank you.
those times it was clear, very, not at the time though. I mean, I just did it. I had heard the word once. I didn't know what this was, but a huge gift to me in my whole life. So thank you, Chrism.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that announcement as well. And Santara, if you could make Manisha's announcement.
I will, of course, while calling all Europeans and the rest of the world, you're very welcome to come to Berlin on September 15th, 16th, and 17th. And Manisha is organizing it. It's going to be a 2 to 3 day seminar with Chrism, and we would love to see you there. So you could drop an email to manisha@postio.de, and you will also find information at Kundalini Seminars and Events with Chrism, and that's the page on Facebook. You can just go there, Kundalini Seminars and Events with Chrism, and you can contact Manisha via that. And I'd also like to give another announcement, and that is if you want to make a donation to support the work that Chrism does, to support, all the groups and everything that he does for Kundalini people, well, then you can make a donation at www.kundalinisafeties.com, or you can also go to chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com. And thank you to everybody who has donated, and thank you in advance to everybody who is in a position to donate and will be doing so. There are my 2 announcements, Chrism. So see everybody next week again.
Thank you. And do you have any last words, dear Santara?
I have no last words. Thank you, Chrism.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I'd like you to remember the teachings of love that the Kundalini gave you earlier today. Stand at the foot of your pyramid, your gold and silver pyramid, and look out upon the land, upon nature, upon society, upon human beings. And with your eyes, as you see them, give the love from the grace that comes from the base of your spine to your heart, to your eyes, and out into the environment. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'd like to thank everybody for asking the questions. Gerline and Lannis and then Tyler. I'd like to thank Tyler for calling in, and Rosemary and Joey and the other callers that have come in. I'd like to thank Amelia Santara, for forming this program. And I'll go ahead and end it the way I started it. Thank you, everybody.